I have traveled a lot. I have met many cultures, religions, and different people, realizing that our world is like a bag of M&Ms, all with different colors but the same taste. The main purpose of my travels was getting to know the way women are treated, seen around the world. Let me share my memories with you. A couple years ago, I went on a vacation to India, a place where I always wanted to be because I was always seduced by the extravagance of their costumes. I was amazed with all the aspects of their culture because I had the chance to talk with a woman called Kali, who told me some details.
The image of the typical Indian woman is her costume. Garments made of cotton and silk, brightly colored with typical jewelry, seduce for its beauty, and give the Indian woman a unique and characteristic look. But in India, women are still subject to some discrimination. The girl cannot choose her husband, since marriage is arranged when they are still young, and only after that she can pronounce his name.
One year ago, I traveled to Ireland, a completely different scenario of what I was used to. I saw many interesting women, actually just a woman's eyes, because they were covered head to toe. I was curious to find out the reason they wear all those clothes.
The burqa, which completely slapped the face of Muslim women, is not an imposition of the Muslim religion. In fact, in a verse in the sacred Quran says, "Who cover themselves with their blanket, that is better, so that they can be recognized and not molested." Thus, as can be inferred, the simplicity even bans this kind of clothing, because the woman is in such a way that it's almost impossible to be recognized. However, this tradition remains in some countries, like Iran. In addition to this distinction, in terms of costumes, there are other aspects that differentiate women from Muslim men. The virgin woman can be forced by her father to be married without being consulted. A woman may only have one man, but the man can marry up to 4 free women at the same time, and has the right to divorce and remarriage, provided they do not keep more than 4 wives at the same time.
5 months ago, I have been in Uganda, where the idea of beauty is completely different. Actually, it's like a different world, because we are used to women want to be skinny, and men want women to be skinny, but in this place, more fat means more beautiful.
Unlike all other cultures where the perception of beauty is seen through the thin woman, in Uganda feel the opposite pressure. In Uganda, full figure is considered beautiful. A fat woman is a status symbol and a source of pride for men. However, the process of gaining weight to look good is a bit tiring. According to tradition, women in their preparation for marriage go to fattening hut. The bride is forced to drink several pitchers of milk, about 500 calories, per day to get to full figure so appreciated.
Last month, I went to Japan, and let me tell you, I got my eyes in big. Since I was in such an amazing place, I decided to have an all Japanese experience. I went to a typical sushi restaurant with porcelain dolls serving us, the so called geishas.
Geisha are Japanese women who study the Asian tradition of the art of seduction, dancing and singing, and distinctly characterized by traditional costumes and makeup. Contrary to popular belief, geisha are not an Eastern equivalent of a prostitute. Traditionally, a geisha would begin their training at a young age. Nevertheless, some of them are sold to geisha's houses, still very young. The modern geishas still live in traditional houses called okiya, in areas called hanamahi. A geisha study traditional instruments as well as songs, traditional Japanese dance, tea ceremony, literature, and poetry.
The last place I went to was Spain, where I could confirm that in fact there is something special about Latin women. They have effortless seduction and exude power and confidence.
The Spanish woman, like most Occidental women, managed to overcome all discrimination. The female figure isn't seen as a mate or a slave of marriage anymore, and today has the same rights as men. They, as well as men, have the right to choose marriage and divorce, emanate power, and assume roles of great importance in society, based on their abilities and not their gender.
But it's not necessary to travel to find different cultures, and the gypsies are an example of that, because, despite of living in the same country, are completely different from the rest of the population.
Gypsies are traditional nomadic people originating in northern India and now living throughout the world, always being an ethnic minority in the countries where they live and resisting all the integration processes. There is still a preference for men, as they provide continuity to the family name. Children, especially girls, still didn't go to school. School is still seen as a threat to survival and unity of traditions of the Gypsies community. Marriage is one of the best preserved traditions of the Gypsies, represents the continuation of the race, so the marriage with non-Gypsies isn't allowed under any circumstances. Soon small Gypsy girls are promised in marriage. It's just the families that decide to join, with economic benefits in view. Usually, the bride's parents paid in gold coins for the marriage. The vast majority of the Gypsies still takes the virginity of the bride. She must prove her virginity through the blood in sheet. If this happens, the next morning she wears a colorful traditional clothes and a headscarf. If not, she can be returned to the parents, and they will have to pay compensation to the groom's parents.
With all these journeys, I realized that although you are completely different, mankind it is beautiful no matter in which place in the world we are. And no matter if you are using a kimono, a turka, or just a pair of jeans and a t-shirt.